Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, this is my channel, absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And today's video is an installment of a collector thought of the day. This is where I just kind of freestyle it, straight to camera. Used to record them on a sofa, but I got a bad back, so I'm standing up today. Less scripted, just kind of sharing some thoughts. And what I'd like to do in this video is just explore and kind of root around in the question, was Yojo June a bit of a disappointment this year? Yojo June 2025, was it a bust? You know, round and about on the socials and on some of the YouTube channels that I kind of follow and dip in and out of, I've heard the kind of Nojo June joke knocking around. Folks are talking about whether it's a bit of a letdown, whether it's not as exciting or interesting or as good as it used to be. And I do genuinely believe that there's a bit more to that, you know, than meets the eye. Because frankly, if you actually sit back and cast your memory back to 2024 or 2023 even, and don't worry, I've done some research before recording this video. I've done a bit of that legwork for you. Yojo June this year has been comparable to previous years, or at least the past 2 to 3 years of Yojo June stuff. And it's arguably been this not good for a while now, you know? But even then, I'm not so sure it was as much of a Nojo June as, you know, we've been joking about and bantering about, because I made a little list here. If we talk about reveals and pre-orders for Classified alone, we got the Ore Striker, we got Budo, we got Hawk and the MMS, just reading off my notes here, Slaughter and Mercer, the Legacy Police Officer, although we'll circle back round to that one in a minute, Slice and Dice 2-pack, the Retro Green Shirt, the Retro Bat, we had a digital render reveal of the Beachhead and Quick Kick, the Desert Scorpion name-only reveal, the Steel Core Sentry Defense Post name-only reveal. We had the HasLab launch with the Snowcat. And for fear of turning this video into just me, reading off lists, if we look at last year alone, comparing G.I. Joe Classified series pre-orders and reveals, we had Alpine, Storm Shadow version 2, the Iron Grenadier Bat, the Marauder Slaughter, the Marauder Spirit and Lowlight 2-pack, Retro Coco, Retro Stalker, Retro Cobra Trooper, the Stinger, and the 60th anniversary Halo Jumper and Marine Sniper, which is, you know, two pretty comparable lists when it comes to the 6-inch plastic crack that a lot of people clearly just want Yojo June to be about. Even if we go back a year before that, and again, turning this video into just me reading off lists, 2023's Yojo June G.I. Joe Classified series offering was the Python Patrol Crimson Guard, Tiger Force Dusty, Arctic Bat, the Trouble Bubble, Night Force Tunnel Rat, Desert Snake Eyes, the Eel, Grunt, Lowlight, the Snow Serpent, Firefly version 2, Nunchuck, the Crimson Viper, and then the Soundwave Thunder Machine Transformers crossover thing. Oh, and that's not even classified, that last one. So that was like 2 sets, 2 figures more. So as far as reveals and pre-orders and digital renders and name-onlys and stuff, Yojo June this year has been equal to, or certainly comparable to, the last 2 years, and that's as far back as I went with my little Google before making this vid. And that's not including the Super 7 stuff that was announced, the Tiger Force, Python Patrol and movie stuff, the Iron Studios Destro statue, the Cold Slither single and music video release, the Skybound Energon Universe interviews and recap that they did on the Hasbro Pulse channel, a couple of mini-movie watch-alongs where they mashed together a couple of the multi-part episodes from the Sunbow cartoon. I did a chat-along live stream. I'm particularly not interested in it at all, but the Overwatch collaboration was talked about, which, even though I'm not an Overwatch player and have no interest in it at all, I'm looking at that and thinking, well, you know, G.I. Joe is going even further up in the world. You know what I mean? To be getting an Overwatch collaboration, Overwatch 2 collaboration like that. So it wasn't really that thin on the ground, particularly, other than the fact I think a lot of folks were just like, show me the toys, give me the toys, toys, and not acknowledging the fact that G.I. Joe as an intellectual property has other things going on. Because again, if you look back at the previous years, we had the Wrath of Cobra video game stuff, there was some Energon stuff in previous years as well about the Skybound Energon universe. So they've been consistent with their Yojo June and what's been going on, you know, within the month of June, the live streams and pre-recorded video releases and stuff. But I do think there's a couple of things going on here. I mean, the cancelled stream and the controversial kind of dialing back of the Legacy Police Officer. No, not Legacy Police, or whatever they're calling them. Yeah, Legacy special officer unit or whatever it's called, you know, and the stream, and the fact that it's assumed to be because of sort of political sensitivities that have led them to cancel that stream. So there was a week where there wasn't really anything going on at all, although they still dropped the other pre-orders that had been leaked through the likes of Full Force and what have you. So it's not like we went without our pre-orders. And then I just think that whole sort of sense that, you know, I saw it on the Discord, I saw it around on Facebook, like, is there a stream tonight on, you know, Wednesday at around midday my time, 1 in the afternoon, you know, the posts start. Is there going to be a stream today? Is there something going on? Are we going to see some new toys? Is there going to be some new pre-orders? So I think this No Joe June label is a little unfair. I mean, I know it's banter and it's meant as a joke, but I think it's a little bit unfair. I'm not sure it was as much of a bust as some folks seem to have been making it out to be, you know, across the social. And I think that is just down to the fact that we had a cancelled stream. Some of the content was of little interest to folks. We had the toy collectors, the adult toy collectors, but that might not be reading the Energon comics and so not interested in the 2 videos that they put out there, or not into the cartoons, so didn't want to get involved in a live stream watch along, mini movie watch along, or don't play Overwatch 2, you know. So some of the G.I. Joe related content was happening and they just weren't paying attention or had less interest in it. And of course the fact, like I say, that Hasbro are just really shit, really pants at like getting it out there. The video alone is not enough. Like the event media approach of it all, it was a bit kind of flat, you know. And let's be fair, let's call it out for what it is. I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely got a bit of G.I. Joe Classified pre-order fatigue. Broadly speaking, as an adult toy collector, I've just got pre-order fatigue in general. You know, waiting for stuff to come, things not coming when they say it's going to come, or coming sooner than they say it's going to come, which can be equally as stressful, you know, if you've pre-ordered on tick and not laid down any money yet, and so a bill comes, an invoice comes. And so going a little light, going a little steadier, actually, I was a bit appreciative of in some respects. So that was okay as far as I was concerned too. And ultimately, I think, you know, in my videos I talk about the convention season and that sort of run of cons that start with Yo Joe June and then roll into things like MCM London, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, the 1027, PulseCon, so on and so forth. We've got this long run now through the summer and into the autumn, all the way up to Christmas, in fact. You know, the back half of the year, this convention season, there just seems to be a sort of broader focus on those large-scale in-person events, you know, the panels and the backstage live streams from the exhibition hall and stuff. So Yo Joe June is just one part of a wider marketing strategy that's taken place over a 6-month period now. So I also think Hasbro have intentionally kind of portioned out, you know, the stuff that's going to get drip fed to us over time. Even though we know that we're getting the Cold Slither exclusive in G.I. Joe Classified, they're sort of drip feeding stuff out and sort of pacing it through that period. And let's not forget, we've had pre-orders arrive, Rattlers are shipping, so there's a lot of G.I. Joey stuff going on in June. Not to mention the third-party space getting in on the acts, like Skeletron are announcing things and Joe Fest has taken place. So there's definitely a G.I. Joe feel in the air. So it begs the question, really, I suppose, those who are calling it a damp squid, a bit of a letdown, a bit of a disappointment, No Joe June, what was it you wanted? What was your expectation of Yo Joe June? Because as I said earlier in the video, it's been consistent now for this is the 3rd year where it has looked and felt this way. And while I'd be the first to admit that like an itinerary of events on June the 1st with dates and times and blurbs and a bit of fireworks and pomp and circumstance wouldn't go amiss to help us feel more structured and involved and engaged by it all, we got, what's that, 9 pre-order sets? A HasLab revealed? Super 7 stuff, Iron Studio stuff, you know, if your sole focus was the toys and you had no interest in the Overwatch or the watch-alongs or the comic book stuff, what was your expectation? If they failed to meet your expectation, then let me know in the comments down below, because what was it you thought was going to happen? Because I genuinely believe that a lot of this would be solved if that communication flow was better. Like I say, just an itinerary, June the 1st, here's the Yo Joe June events. On Wednesday the so-and-so, this is happening. On Tuesday the such and such, this is happening. Keep an eye out on Super 7 socials, because they'll be dropping something in the 3rd week of June. You know, just a little something I don't know, like a, you know, you used to get like your little 8-page flyers and stuff, didn't you, back in the day, or info leaked out to fanzines, but the online equivalent. I genuinely believe just something like that, a better communication flow, would actually have solved the problem, because it's not been that disappointing, really, has it? Has it? I suppose I'll ask again, what was it you were expecting? So all told, I'm pretty happy. You know, miss a live stream live. I missed a couple live because of work and such like, and because I didn't know they were happening. So I just watched the video on demand. No big deal. Got round to it in my own time with a cup of tea and a bicky, mooching around on His Tank and Full Force's social page, because they're usually plugged in and pretty good, and sites like Toy Habits, you know. And I'm pretty cool. You know, I'm pretty cool with what's going on. I've had some pre-orders arrive this month as well in the world of G.I. Joe Classified. So it's been pretty decent, and I've felt G.I. Joey in the air. So yeah, please do drop down into the comments, let me know. I'd be interested to get those insights. If you're one of the individuals who was disappointed by it, didn't meet your expectations, help me understand, you know, what was it that was so disappointing? What could they have done? Or what were you expecting that would have made it less of a disappointment? Was it just simply that kind of weird stream cancellation and the controversial legacy police officer stuff? Or was it something more? Or something that I'm not, you know, not occurring to me that I'm missing? You know, I'm always open to hearing what folks have got to say. Or do you agree? You know, of course, by all means, drop in the comments down below and agree with me. That is more than welcome, you know. So there you go, completely unscripted, straight to camera, just a bit of blah 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 from me. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope it was interesting. Yeah, get into conversation with me down in the comments below. But all that remains to say is thanks very much for watching. Have a great day, have a great week, and swing back around for another video sometime soon. All right, take it easy, folks.